and welcome to the program. I am DEJI360, and let's start off with security, because the insecurity in the country is actually still a problem. And recently, Governor Dauda Lawal of Zamfara State now accused the federal government of negotiating with terrorists in his state without his knowledge. Now, the governor levels the accusation following the abduction of about 24 students of the Federal University Gusau. He claimed that his administration had evidence of some federal government agencies negotiating with bandits in the state. Now, specifically, he mentioned some high-profile government officials, but in a swift response, the federal government, through the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, denied the governor's allegation, saying Lawal should rather appreciate efforts of security agents and the federal government's institutions to rescue the abducted students of the Federal University. The statement issued by the spokesperson to the governor, Suleiman Bala Idris, revealed the state government possessed hard evidence exposing some federal government agents involved in the negotiation with bandits in Zamfara State. Now, in fact, there have been video have been circulated. Several videos now have been circulated online showing some top government officials and some military personnel as well meeting with some of these bandits now, well-known bandit leaders now in a forest in Zamfara State. Of course, the federal government has actually denied that it met with any of these bandits. And the issue is actually generating a serious controversy, giving the impression that some level of politics is now creeping into the whole issue, especially when you consider the fact that the government in Zamfara State is a PDP government. Let's discuss this further now. Been joined on the program by two gentlemen, of course, who used to work for the Department of State Services. I have Dennis Amakri, who is a former director in, of course, the DSS, an assistant director to be precise. He joins us on the program now. And we also have Mike Ejiofor, a director of the DSS, a former director of the DSS, also joining us all the way from Yenagoa. Gentlemen, thank you very much for coming on my show. And I must say it's a privilege to have two former directors on my program. So I want to believe I'm highly protected here. But let me start with you, Mr. Amakari. What do you make of this?
Oh, thank you, Deji. Well, when we have a situation like this where the governor himself is saying that he has some people who are coming to negotiate with terrorists
without his knowledge.
Without his knowledge. And then there are others who are saying from the government side that the governor is wrong. I will tend to go with the governor because he is the owner of the land. He is the one that is in charge of that area. But this is a very old case because we have situations where terrorists have been known to they've negotiated with terrorists before. Yes. Terrorists have married, and you see government officials attending the wedding. And then, of course, there are other negotiations that have been going on. But apparently, we still have this situation going on because we are not addressing the issue on the point.
Okay, we're going to come to that issue on the point you just talked about. Mr. Ejiofor, now this issue, part of the reason why this issue is generating a lot of controversy is that the Zamfara state governor has made it clear that he is not going to negotiate with bandits. But here you have a situation where, well, he allegedly claims that the federal government agencies or federal government agents are negotiating with bandits without carrying him along, and he's a chief security officer of the state. What does that tell us?
Well, it tells you that there's no proper coordination. And in fact, it's very unfortunate. I wouldn't say that the governor himself is frivolous or he doesn't have the facts on what he's talking about. And again, the federal government officials or the agents who are negotiating with the bandits without his knowledge will be wrong. So I'm not in a position to confirm either position. I'm trying to strike a delicate balance so that we don't lose focus or the achievement we're supposed to get in getting these bandits activities curtailed and the victims released. The fact remains that the governor is the chief security officer of the state. And if there's anything to be done in terms of negotiation, it will be carried along, even though nobody encourages that we should negotiate with the bandits. Kaduna, Katsina, Zamfara, state governments have negotiated with them, got their commitment, and eventually failed. So I don't think there's any point negotiating with them. If we are negotiating with them, their aims, their objective, what they want should be clearly defined. What are they looking for? They're just busy mass kidnapping people, collecting money, buying more arms. You see, we should be able to differentiate between negotiating with bandits. It depends on what the bandits actually require. For instance, if you take the Niger Delta, they were talking of resource control. You take IPOB, they are talking of political issues. Now, the bandits, what do they want? What are they actually asking for? It becomes a very delicate balance. And I believe that the state government and the federal government should work together in synergy to ensure that this is brought to a halt.
Now, don't you think that this is all about politicking? When you consider the fact that, look, the former governor of the state, Matabule Matawale, is actually the Minister of State for Defense in the country today. And of course, his name has been mentioned as one of those behind this negotiation. Do you see some kind of politicking here? Because you know the circumstance. Bello Matawale lost that election in Zamfara State now under very acrimonious circumstance. And they're actually in court. He's actually in court against the governor. So we're looking at two men who don't see eye to eye. Do you think both men now would be able to work together to try and bring peace to Zamfara State? Because whether we like it or not, one is now a minister of defense, the other is a governor. There has to be some kind of synergy. So isn't this politicking?
Well, I think it's political because, the governor maintaining his position as a governor, a PDP governor, and the minister trying to also discredit the governor for not doing enough, trying to take the initiative on behalf of the federal government to ensure to discredit the governor. So it's politics, and it is dangerous.
Very.
For our politicians to be politicizing our security. It's quite dangerous, and they should work together, work in synergy. Again, it comes with the issue of appointments. What background, either security background, do the two ministers of defense have? So, and instead of learning on the job, liaising with the security agencies to see how they issue statements, they issue conflicting statements that will even compound the problems on ground. So I believe that the security managers should come in immediately and call them to order to stop all this politicizing of our security to achieve results.
Mr. Makri, what do you think?
Like Mike said, it has been seriously politicized. Not even with this particular APC government, even when the last government, where Oshomole was saying that if you cross over to our party, then of course all your sins are forgiven. So it's a political thing, and then it does not really hold a bad thing to be bad thing. Bandits have caused a lot of havoc, a lot of pain and fear in people. And what we need to do at this time is to clear them out. We cannot keep on playing politics with security, and that's the issue that I think is at stake, because we continue playing that politics, and then people are dying. People cannot go to their farms, and indirectly it now affects even the country in food security. So I personally think that they have to work together. That synergy must be there. And then, of course, those ungoverned spaces where these bandits are staying have to be cleared out.
Now, let me ask you specifically this about those ungoverned spaces, because the truth is, you look at it, these bandits actually have a field day in these ungoverned spaces. That's where they operate. Why has it been difficult to provide some kind of governance around these ungoverned spaces? Why is it so difficult, for instance, to provide security and what have you? Because that's the advantage that these bandits are leveraging on.
Yeah, thank you for that question. You know, the original question we even really need to ask is, who are these bandits? How did they get there? How did they get there to occupy those ungoverned spaces? You know, it is all a situation where you find out that these guys who are actually foreigners, you know, have a history. And that history, we are not being honest with ourselves, because I think we have to be honest with ourselves when it comes to security issues. You know, these are foreigners, they've been here. Many people are going to negotiate with them. In fact, there was a governor who was paying them monthly stipends, you know, and then later he decided not to pay again. And then, of course, and these are all in the public domain. It's not something that I'm making up, you know.
That governor, of course, is the current Minister of State for Defense. I mean, it's public knowledge.
Not that one, not that one. This governor I'm talking about is the governor of Kaduna State. You know, Kaduna State, he said it himself, he was paying the bandits, you know, and when they keep on coming for more, he said he was not going to pay them again. And they said, okay, then we're going to make your state ungovernable for you. And then we know what happened.
We also saw a similar thing in Zamfara State anyway. You know, at some point, if you remember, when the Zamfara State governor, I'm talking about Bello Matawalle now, even bought Hilux vehicles, provide houses for some of these bandits leaders. And at the end of the day, these bandit leaders now, some of them collected all of this, and eventually they still returned to the forest.
Yes, they come for more. Because you see, when you have a policy of not negotiating with bandits or terrorists, then you better stick to it. You know, because these people are just, like Mike was saying, when we are talking of people in Southeast, they have a motive and an objective. In the Niger Delta, they have a motive and an objective. These are not, they don't have any motives. They are thieves. You know, they are a gang of thieves. That's what bandits are. You know, and then we allow these people to be, you know, moving around, marauding all over the place. Why? Why are they doing that?
Okay, let me pause you there and bring in Mr. Ejiofor. Mr. Ejiofor, let's tell ourselves the truth. This idea of not negotiating with bandits or terrorists, is it something we can actually see through? Is it a policy we can actually stick to and implement?
Why not? Why not? We can see it through with concerted efforts. You know, look at what is happening in the Southeast now. Why don't you adapt that? Even though they've tried it. You remember what happened recently in Niger? We'll have casualties through ambush. These people ambushed our military. They even ambushed Nemo. So we need to, these ungoverned spaces, provide adequate intelligence, which is not lacking. And when you have this intelligence, the air and the ground forces should move into that place. There might be collateral damages. Yes, we agree. In terms of, you know, civilian, but with precision, I don't think we'll have that much of collateral damage, you know, in terms of precision. They need to use air bombardment to get these people out of the northwest. Not only in Zamfara State, you're talking of Katsina, you're talking of Kaduna, Niger, and all these states that are operating freely. We need to flush them out.
All right, gentlemen, I want to thank you very much for coming on the program. Thank you very much for your time. Dennis Amakari, Thank you so much for coming on the program. And Mr. Mike Ejiofor, thank you very much. Well, we'll take a short break here and we'll be right back. Stay with us, don't go away.
Opinions are free, facts are sacred, but truth is universal.
How, in practical terms, can we, for instance, de-escalate the tension?
President must see himself as the president of the Federal Republic.
We know where the enemy is. 3 places. The Lake Chad Basin, the border area between Nigeria and Cameroon, and then the Sambisa Forest.
On DEJI360, we give you a complete dose of everything. Opinion, facts, and undiluted truth.
I hardly believe what politicians say in this part of the world.
A new Nigeria is possible, a future is possible.
We delve into the issues, dissect it so that you can understand it, use it to take action.
I don't think there's any need for any governor to look for grant for ranching.
DEJI360, dissecting the issues.